Good afternoon, Year 7. So you've just had a full hour looking at the plot of Much Ado About Nothing, and now we're going to go and look at the key characters of Much Ado About Nothing. So as you can see on the screen, it says, please make sure you have the following: a pen, your English book or some lined paper if you cannot locate your book, and of course an enthusiasm for Shakespeare that just won't quit. That latter one is perhaps the most important. I know I've got mine. Have you got yours? So, because it's the same lesson day, kind of, it's a double lesson on a Wednesday, isn't it? We can carry on from where we left off at the last video. So the date is the same, just a new title as key characters of Much Ado About Nothing. I'll give you a moment to just jot that down now. Okay, so we'll start as we mean to go on. What do we remember of the play so far? So thinking back on everything you've done in the first hour of today's double lesson on the plot, can you answer these 7 questions? So, which genre of the play is Much Ado About Nothing? You may remember that from Tuesday's lesson. Leonardo's daughter is whom? Which 2 main characters return from the war at the start of the play? What word is used to describe the merry war between Beatrice and Benedict? It's a merry war of what? Who is the antagonist of the play? And remember, the antagonist is the principal villain of a play, isn't it? Who does Claudio feel that Hero has betrayed him? Oh, sorry, that should be why does Claudio feel that Hero has betrayed him? And the play ends with a double marriage. But which 2 couples take the plunge? If you want to pause this video and give yourself 5 minutes to jot down the answers to all these questions, that would be splendid. Okay, so now that you've given yourself that time, let's go through the answers then. So which genre of the play is Much Ado About Nothing? Of course, Much Ado About Nothing is an example of a Shakespearean comedy. It's a comedy play. So we should have written in full answers, of course. Leonardo's daughter is whom? And the answer to this one will be Hero is Leonardo's daughter. Which 2 main characters return from the war at the start of the play? Well, they would be, at the opening of the play, Claudio and Benedict both return from the war. Those are our principal characters that we learn have come back from the war. The word used to describe this merry war, it's a rivalry between Beatrice and Benedict, is described as a war of wits, of course. So it's wit, it's the wit element. Really key term for understanding this play. The antagonist of the play is, of course, the villainous Don John. The little trickster, he is always meddling and trying to cause a bit of uproar. Claudio feels betrayed by Hero as he mistakenly believes that he has seen her kissing another on the night before their nuptials, which is of course another word for wedding. And the play ends with a double marriage, but which 2 couples take the plunge? Both Hero and Claudio and Beatrice and Benedict decide to marry at the end of the play. So those are the couples that are taking the plunge. I'll give you just a moment if you want to pause and make sure you've got those answers ticked or corrected in a purple pen. So, a who's who for me and you. So the main characters here, once you get your booklets, which are being sent out as we speak, and perhaps will be with you sometime next week, you'll see on the front cover 9 of the key principal characters of the play. Now for today's purposes, we're only going to focus on the main 4 of them, and those are Hero, Beatrice, Claudio, and Benedict. Hero, it says here, is the daughter of Leonardo. She is innocent, she is naive, but she's also a bit blandly sweet. Beatrice is Hero's cousin. Now she is sharp-tongued and witty, and she's not very keen on the idea of marriage. Claudio is an immature count. He is madly in love with Hero, and he's ludicrously gullible. And of course Benedict, the friend of Claudio, who is also sharp-tongued and witty, and he's also, quite like Beatrice, not keen on the idea of marriage. we shall see how this unfolds indeed. So looking at Hero in particular, here's a little bit of information about Hero. Make sure we're paying close attention and reading along just as I'm speaking here. So Hero is Leonato's daughter, Beatrice's cousin, and the beloved of Claudio. On the night before her wedding, Hero is unknowingly impersonated and framed for being unfaithful to Claudio. She's publicly shamed at her wedding, and her father hides her away pretending she is dead until the slander has been discredited. Hero is one of the characters who participates in the scheme to bring Beatrice and Benedict together. I need a hero, or so says an 80s hero of mine, Bonnie Tyler. But can you remember what goes in these gaps using these words on the right hand side of the screen? Pause this video and finish these sentences off, putting in the correct words in the gaps, please. I'd give yourself 5 minutes to do this. Pause the video so you've got this still on the screen. So what do you have to say for yourself, Hero? Here's one of the key quotes I find that Hero says in this play, and it comes in from Act 3, Scene 1. She says, "Of this matter is little Cupid's crafty arrow made, that only wounds by hearsay." So this really shows, I think, that this play is entirely dedicated to the idea of words spoken behind people's backs, in front of people. It's a very much a wordy play, and when we do this and look at the actual text further down the line, we'll see that the richness of the language that Shakespeare uses is such importance. And it also indicates here the importance of love, because Cupid is of course one of the love gods in some particular religion or deity-ness. Claudio then. So Claudio is a young Florentine soldier who fights for Don Pedro, and he's also a friend of Benedict. He falls in love with Hero and plans to marry her, but he disgraces her publicly after he's tricked by Don John into thinking she has been unfaithful. By the end of the play, after her faithfulness has been proven, he marries her. Claudio is one of the characters who participates in the scheme to bring Benedict and Beatrice together. So, as we did with Hero, the same we shall do with Claudio. I would like you to pause this video here and give yourself about 5 minutes to copy out these sentences and filling in the gaps with those key words where they belong to your mind. And what do you have to say for yourself, Claudio? Well, Claudio's key line I find in this play comes in at Act 4, Scene 1, and he states, "Oh, what men dare do, what men may do, what men daily do, not knowing what they do." Clearly, this is a jumbled up kind of cohort of arguments, but it's also key to understanding the play, because do not forget, young Year 7s, that the language Shakespeare uses has to be taken with a pinch of salt. Every word is specifically placed so it means entirely different things. The idea that men do things, what they may do, but they don't do, knowing what they do, is an extremely poignant example of how Shakespeare uses language to make his audiences laugh and come along with the characters on an epic journey. So Beatrice then, one of the main two characters of this play, Beatrice and Benedict, are the main characters here. So what does we have about Beatrice? Well, Beatrice is Leonato's niece, an extremely witty and strong-willed young woman. Beatrice has a merry war of wits and insults with Benedict, whom she hates. Like Benedict, Beatrice never wants to marry. All the same, she is tricked by Hero into falling in love and marrying Benedict by the end of the play. Yes, you guessed what was coming. It's another one of these, so please pause the video and fill in these gaps with the correct words as you see fit. Another 5 minutes for this, please. And what do you have to say for yourself, Beatrice? Well, this is quite a long one, also from Act 4, Scene 1, but this is key. So Beatrice says, her key quote I would say, is, "Oh, that I were a man for his sake, or that I had any friend who would be a man for my sake. But manhood is melted into curtsies, valour into compliment, and men are only turned into tongue, and trim ones too. He is now as valiant as Hercules, that only tells a lie and swears it. I cannot be a man with wishing, therefore I will die a woman with grieving. Ooh, what a powerful quotation, not only showing the complexities of language at play within the play, pardon the pun, but also the gender roles and the gender normatives that we're going to develop as we progress through studying this Shakespearean comedy. And of course Benedict, the wily Benedict. So Benedict is a witty young lord of Padua and a soldier. He is extraordinarily successful with women, but is fanatically committed to a bachelor's life. A bachelor meaning one who will never marry, of course. He has a merry war of wits and insults with Beatrice, whom he hates. And by the end of the play, Claudio, Don Pedro and Leonardo have all tricked him into falling in love with Beatrice, and he marries her. Classic. So, with Benedict, like we've done with our other three main characters, could we copy out these lines, filling in the gaps where we feel fit in our books, or line paper, please. Another 5 minutes for you to complete this, please. And of course, what do you have to say for yourself, Benedict? Well, what Benedict says is this. 3 key quotes I've got for this character because he says so much and it's so important all the same. So he says in Act 1, Scene 1, kicking us right off, "Shall I never see a bachelor of 60 again?" Immediately indicating this bachelor life that he sets up, the main trope of this play. He will never marry, these 2 characters diametrically opposed, which end up, as we know from the plot, coming together in a union of marriage. In Act 2, Scene 3, he says, "One woman is fair, yet I am well. Another is wise, yet I am well. Another virtuous, yet I am well. But till all graces be in one woman shall not come in my grace." Very key here, again talking about language, but as well the gender kind of perplexities that are on display here. He has all these descriptions of women, they may be anything, but none of them to him will come into his graces. He does not accept any of them in his sphere of marriage. And the final one here is, of course, the complete change we see in Benedict. Get thee a wife, there is no staff more revenge than one tipped with horn. A complete character reversal. He's now saying everyone should get a wife, everyone should be married. The bachelor we once knew at the start of the play is completely removed and changed. How bizarre. But we digress. Let's get on to the next slide. Okay then, so building our vocabulary. What I want you to do now is, with all these 4 main characters, I've got in the middle here a little box with quite a few adjectives that you may want to use. Of the 4 characters, write out each of the 4 names, please, and underneath I want a list of which of these adjectives you think are applicable to each of these characters. There are some wily minxes here and some tricky words, so try and be careful with your choosings. Of course, some may be used for more than one character, so please do not feel alarmed. Give yourself, I say, 5 minutes to do this, and I think you'll be cracking away with the juiciness that this Shakespearean text and these Shakespearean characters have to offer us. And that is about it from me. So, it's been lovely having you here virtually on this sunny Wednesday afternoon. Of course it's sunny, it's always sunny somewhere. And what I want you to do now is, now you've completed this narrated PowerPoint, there will be a quiz on Show My Homework, dealing with all the stuff we've dealt with in this lesson today. So what I want you to do is have a hop, skip, jump over onto there and complete that quiz for us, because your answers will be greatly appreciated by all of us staff here. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Have a lovely rest of the week, Year 7. Adios, muchachos.